Hey, this is Andy Randell with Independence Gold. Hopefully, you guys saw the press release went out yesterday on December 1st, just about the geophysics update that we put out with some soils. Just wanted to take some time again just to go over that. So, the results came out of an IP, an inverse induced polarization survey that we did this summer with Diaz Geophysics. That's a ground geophysical survey. And it was complemented by a soil sampling program that we started over the top of this area on the surface. And what's been great about this, the marrying of these two together, is it's really given us some strongest evidence so far for these veins that we think exist out here, and also the extent of them. So really developing them into more advanced targets and hopefully for drilling. So IP surveys, they measure chargeability, which can be, you get chargeability highs where the electricity can flow better, so mineralization in the rocks, sulfide minerals, etc. And then resistivity can help us with mapping the rock types and structures, especially things like faults. We know that there's a lot of faults in the area that can offset these veins. And so, we want to be able to target them and to drill them and where they get offset so we can find where it continues afterwards. The soils, we used a method called MMI, which is mobile metal ion soil sampling. This detects really small amounts of gold, so much lower detection than we would normally take in a core or even rock samples on surface. And what it is it's so very effective in an area like 3Ts where we might have till cover, so subglacial cover, that really dilutes down the mineralization and the effect from anything eroding from the vein. So even those very, very low sniffs of gold are really useful for us to be able to kind of start to target. So the really important thing is how those two align. So if we're getting some gold in the soils and we're getting an anomaly together, that's what we're looking for. And what we've got in this is we've identified at least two very strong north-south golden soil anomalies, and they're lining up really well with chargeability highs in the geophysics. One of them is the East Main Lehman vein. It's about 1.8 kilometers east of the Tedmint vein system right now, which is kind of the furthest east on our current resource area. The strike length north to south is about 840 meters. So it still looks like it's potentially open on either end. And the soils are getting up to 5.8 parts per billion gold in there as well. So it sounds like a tiny number, but it's pretty significant. What we can do, though, is we can marry that with actual rock samples that we found on surface that are from veins or from very close to outcrops and veins. And so we get on this area, within that strike length, we're getting rocks that are up to 18 gram per ton gold and 178 gram per ton silver, which is much more for comparison to what we see at the Tedmint Tommy vein systems. The second one that we found, we called the Dobby vein, about 2.5 kilometers or 2.2 kilometers east of Tedmint. Again, it's about 850 meters strike length north-south. The soils are getting up to 12, just over 12 parts per billion gold there. But rock samples that we've collected on surface, again, running high at like 19.24 gram per ton gold is the numbers I've got here. So again, very highly prospective. It's good to see these things starting to align and really congeal and coalesce into a good solid target. We do have some other areas as well. I mean, we've talked about things like the Cardiff veins in the past, the Ranger veins in the past. These are kind of a little bit more conceptual, but this survey seems to have highlighted potential there for some more structures underlying these, and so we can go back and investigate that as well. So this is quite significant. Seeing the soils, the geophysics, the historical sampling, everything line up is giving us a lot higher confidence that these are real and buried vein systems and targets for future drill programs. And obviously, they're so far set to the east from the resource area that we could have a significant expansion and vein system out there. Don't forget, in the last couple of years, we've managed to deliver the Ian vein, the Johnny vein, the Larry vein, all which got incorporated into our new resource that were not really known about 2-3 years ago. So 2-3 years time, maybe we'll be building a resource off of those additional veins that we find in the east that we're talking about here. So really, this is a really important step forward for the 3Ts project. It really strengthens potential for multiple new vein discoveries in the future. There is a little bit more soil data to come. As you remember, we did have a forest fire in the area that evacuated the camp that we managed to get back in to the site, and then in November we had a soil sampling crew go back in, took about another 620 soil samples, which are currently sat with the lab, and having the MMI study done on those as well. So you may see another update in a couple of weeks with the results of those soils, and hopefully they'll really reflect and on the chargeability and the resistivity anomalies that we're seeing in the geophysics. So thanks again for listening. Stay tuned. We'll bring out more when we can. Thank you.